Welcome to the only daily podcast focusing on compliance news of the day. Each morning, start your day with a cup of coffee and Tom Fox, the voice of compliance, to hear about 4 of the top compliance, corruption, or leadership stories you will need to start your day. The Daily Compliance News is a production of the Compliance Podcast Network.
First, a word from this month's sponsor, Ethico.
In the delicate arena of compliance, every conversation matters. Traditional methods can leave callers feeling unheard, but Ethico changes the game. Our empathetic interview technique reshapes compliance calls into powerful, compassionate interactions, ensuring no crucial detail is missed. It's about creating a conversation that matters, that resonates, that makes a difference. Be the change in your compliance approach. See the transformation for yourself at ethico.com/CPN. Book a demo, try our free ROI calculator, and explore the white paper by Tom Fox, The ROI of Compliance.
Daily Compliance News for August 21, 2024, the corruption at the OIG edition. And we begin with that story from The Hill, which reports that the federal government's 74 inspector generals need to have their underlying legislative mandate completely redone, as The Hill believes that the group is not representing the interests of the government, but is indeed hiding corruption and is punishing whistleblowers who come forward. So the repeated failures of the inspector generals, the article believes, calls for a mass or drastic restructuring, and that the watchers, i.e. the inspector generals themselves, have been compromised by their relationships with the agencies they're supposed to watch. Next up, from the Financial Times, the story of how Starbucks was able to get rid of its recently hired CEO, Laxman Narasimhan. In April of this year, he announced bad news for Starbucks on a call with analysts and investors. It dealt with, of course, sales figures. Well, some 15 weeks later, it cost him his job when last week he was abruptly informed by Starbucks chair Melody Hobson that the board was ending his contract less than 2 years after she had hired him with a $28 million package and the message that he was the inspiring leader the company needed. Different people described the call as professional, terse, or just brutal. Turned out that the job had actually already been offered to someone else. So it just goes to show that even people at the top at big corporations don't always get treated fairly. Next up, a sad note that Senator Robert Menendez resigned effective August 20, 2024. Of course, Menendez was convicted on federal bribery charges in July, and it's an end to a long and distinguished career, but indeed a sad ending indeed. And from the Wall Street Journal, it turns out that the Protestant work ethic is no longer in place in Germany, as Germans worked an average of just over 1,300 hours a year, which was the lowest of any OECD country. So the Protestant work ethic is not alive and well in Germany. As I mentioned at the start of this podcast, this month's sponsor for the entire Compliance Podcast Network is Ethico. Have you ever wondered how to show the ROI of your compliance program? Have you struggled with the budgeting process, getting the funds you want for your compliance program? Well, I've partnered with Ethico to put together a white paper on the ROI of compliance, which shows you not only how to demonstrate ROI, but also how to speak finance when you're sitting across from the CFO with your budget proposals. Check out the website and get the white paper. The Daily Compliance News is a production of the Compliance Podcast Network and a proud member of C-Suite Radio. Thanks so much for listening. I hope you'll join me again tomorrow.